Okay, welcome guys. So today we're going to do something a bit different. For those of you first starting off with angling, things can be a bit puzzling and a lot of information of what to get and when to get and why to get, etc. So I'm about to go into a tackle shop here now and go through some general components and stuff what will help you get started on your road to your angling. Now this shop here is based in the Isle of Wight. It's called Slamfish, and it's owned by a friend of mine, Nobby Clark, and he's allowed us to go in here today and go through some rods, reels, general rig components and stuff what hopefully get you amongst the fish. Okay guys, so here we are, Slamfish headquarters, Isle of Wight, and yeah, quite lucky and fortunate to be able to do this today. So most tackle shops you go in, always helpful and always try to help you as much as they can. And we're going to start with to get you fishing. So not everybody's going to go have the money to go out and buy top of the range rods straight away. At the end of the day, you're going to get into the sport and see whether you like the sport. So the best thing to do is basically pick up a rod and reel set combo, nice and cheap. Now Nobby at Slamfish normally have some here, and they're rod and reel combo for 55 quid. They're currently out of stock because they sold that many of them. So what we're going to do is go through some of the mid-range rods going up to the high spec rods. You can pay anything from 50 or 60 quid for a rod, or you can even cheaper than that for the rod really, and you could go up to spend £1,000 on the rod. There is a lot of different rods around, continental rods, beach casters, bass rods, depending what type of fishing you're doing. It's depending what rod you're going to buy. So I'm going to move on to the rods now. So rods. So basically he's got everything from spinning rods going through to lure rods, going through to boat rods, and then going through to mid-range rods up to the more expensive top of the range rods. Now mid-range rods, really you're looking at some of the Achios rods and the Any Fish Anywhere rods. Very good quality rods, both brands, and they do a different type of rods to suit your different angling needs. Now some people will like the continental rods. If you're first starting out, very easy to use, very easy to cast, and when you're casting them, the rod will do the work rather than technique. So if you are looking to fish very clean beaches and stuff like that, continental rods with fixed spools will get you going. We'll go through the reels and that in a minute, but yeah, as we said, there's a lot of different ones here. We've got the Achios Air Torque, you've got the Air Speed, the Air Power, and yeah, there's a lot of different rods in the range. Then you go up to obviously the 3-piece continental rods. This one here is another rod for Achios now. It's called the Air Power Surf 420 GTR. Now, I'd had a look at this one yesterday. I'm hoping to get a cast with this sometime today. But this rod is 4.20 meters, so that's 14 foot, and it casting weight from 100 gram to 220. That's 3.5 to 7.5 ounces. Very nice build. If you can have a look at that one there now, that's the Air Power Surf 420 GTR, and I can see straight away just with the power in that butt section. Looks very nicely made, Fuji eyes, and yeah, I'm not sure what they retail at. You probably pay a little bit of money for that type of rod. And yeah, and they've got another rod here which Nobby wants me to cast, which is the Creed GP 420 from the Achios range. Now this is a casting weight from 122 gram to 224 gram, and yeah, 4 to 8 ounces basically. It's 1310, and to be honest, it feels like a big rod, but it has got movement in the butt section, which is a good thing for your first. If you're doing a lot of rock fishing and stuff like that, obviously your casting isn't up to scratch, and you, at the end of the day, with really solid rods, half the time you need the casting experience to be able to bend them. Now this, you can see straight away, it's got flex there, which I would probably recommend without okay, it's hard to say without casting, but it would be very user friendly. You can normally see that with the butt section of the rod just by obviously putting your hand up the top there and bending in. There is movement in there. There's more movement in that than there is in the Air Power, believe it or not. But it's probably got a really nice tip on it to go with. And yeah, Nobby wants me to cast this one later on, so we'll go hopefully get out and do a few casts with it. But then we move on right here now. Then we've got the foreign baits, which is the cheaper version of the with the Any Fish Anywhere brands, and mid-range rods basically, guys. These are probably the budget rods from the Any Fish Anywhere range. And you've got the Match Pros Mark II, which are more suited for your beach work angler, match fishing angler. If you're fishing anywhere like Chesil and places like that where you've got a chance of hitting some rays and that, it'll handle it no problem at all. And yeah, it's a nice mid-range rod really. Then we're going to go through up to now. If someone was to say to me, what is the best make rod available on the market? And as I said many times, guys, I'm not sponsored within this. I'm going to give my opinion. Okay, a lot of people have different opinions. Now, the Zocron range, I'm going to pick up the match here now, is a fantastic range of rods. Okay, for value for money, I don't think they'll be beaten by any brand. Okay, the technology in the background into these rods is phenomenal. They're built by casters. In my eyes, when you cast a Zocron rod, you can feel everything down to the lead. And as you move on with your angling experience, especially casting and that, it's a good thing to have. The Ziplex rods many years ago were unique because to me, you could always feel when casting where the lead was at all times, and that was from the casting background knowledge what went in to the Ziplex range. Zocron, Jay Lee, exactly the same now. Phenomenal caster, international caster, and knows what he's doing when he's building rods, and it goes to show in these ranges, guys. Now, we took him up to the European Open and done a demo day on these rods, so anglers could come and try them, and you just see some of the guys' faces, what we're using, like the mid-range rods and that, when they cast these. It's like casting Rolls Royces. They're very, very nice rods, very light, which is new technology from the Ziplexes. Ziplexes were quite heavy back in the day, where these are super light and they're super quick, and the recovery on the rods is phenomenal. Highly recommend for the money, best value for money around, I believe, what you get for the money. And yeah, they do a lot of different ranges. So that one's the match rod that casts up to 250 gram, 14 foot. If you're into like estuary fishing, you just like got a few estuaries you want to get out, they do a 396 Zocron bass rod. Okay, and as I say, guys, they're not expensive for what you get. Top quality rods. If you're looking for a glass tip rod, anybody really, these are very suited. With glass tip rods, when you're first starting out, and everything when you cast with over a thump and that, a lot of it would be casting off the tip. These you'd have to slow it down slightly. Just a work of art, really. They're just a serious work of art. Just really nice rod. But that's a glass tip version of that. Then you go up to the light version. So if you were doing a little bit of rock fishing and stuff like that, that's a super light actually, sorry, you could go for the light or the super lights. And then if you want to go for the oh, they haven't got the big boy in here actually, so that's a light. So that's perfect Bristol channel rod, mixed ground rod. A little bit rough really, it would cope with it. Rock fishing, lots of power. And yeah, that is the Zocron XT435 light. And then yeah, they haven't got the big one in here at the moment. They have got the 435, but they've got it with a glass tip. I can show you it, but this is a GT version. I've got the normal version with the carbon tip. But fantastic rod. This will cast 220 grams, 8 ounces, 14.4 in length, and really is a nice bit of kit. And then at the end after that, you've simply got the top range of the rods. Now, Century, in my eyes, have been the leading brand in sea angling, like for the top level, for many years. It used to be with Ziplex, and I think with the modern day technology, what they put into it at later stages, they run away with it really. They do different rods for all different types of fishing, and they do like top level rods for the more professional anglers, where you have to cast them. You need to be able to have casting skills to be able to bend them. But they do a lot of different rods in the range, from a budget range entry rods, which I think they're fire blades, and then they go up through to like the tip tornadoes. They do the compressors, and then they do the eliminators, which are the very high level rods. But yeah, that is basically rods, guys. So as I said, you can pay for anything from 30-40 quid for a rod up to £1,000 for a rod. After that, the next thing you'll need is a tripod. So lots of different prices of tripods. Ian Go's tripods are probably my favourite for them. But at the end of the day, you have to get you started. You don't need to. But yeah, what we're going to do now is go on to the reels. So to get you going, what can you say no more? The fixed spool. Very easy to use, very simple to use. Bail arm it over, we'll go through the cast of it simply later on. Load it up with line, always a shock leader. We'll go through the benefits of shock leader a bit later on as well. But yeah, this is probably one of the entry decent fixed spools. As I said, you can pay real cheap for fixed spools. I would recommend paying a little bit more for a fixed spool and getting the quality and the smoothness. I mean, this is the Achios Fury, and perfect for beach fishing really. It's as you can see there, smooth as you like, very well made, and yeah, it's like a budget end mid-range fixed spool. Pick up for less than 100 quid. I'm not sure what these retail actually, but let's have a look. What's he say there? 75 quid. So there's 75 quid, and that is the FX8. So yeah, very nice reel. So we'll put that one back up, and then you can, as I said before, pay a little bit more money for the reels. And this is probably the next step up, which is the Surf Blaster 3 from Penn. Now the Surf Blasters back in the day, what I used to start reading with, if I'm honest, and a very nice reel. And yeah, as you can see, the modern day technology has moved on, and they're on to Series 3 now. But been around a long time. Penn, you get what you get with Penn. I mean, the quality is always there. You probably pay a little bit more money for this, which is about 140 quid. But likewise, the Achios range there, you can pay more money again. So the Achios, they've got the Utopia CX8, which is a more higher end of the Achios range. So a lot of different brands, depending on what brand you get, will always give you different levels of what you get. So you get more expensive range, and then you can get obviously the cheaper end. But Penn do low budget reels, more expensive reels, and so does Achios do exactly the same. But as you see, guys, both perfect fixed spools reels. So we're going to put these ones back now. And then what I'm about to do is go on to the next thing. Now, if you're just starting out fishing, I don't advise this at all, because these can be very, very tricky to get on with when you're first starting out. So this is what you call a multiplier, okay? The difference is, on the fixed spool, you clip the spool back over, you cast out, and then as it drops, it will stop. To put bail arm off, you can't do no overrun. With these, it can be an absolute nightmare, and I mean an absolute nightmare. When I first started fishing with them, I just couldn't get on with them, and I went back to fixed spool a couple of times, and then when I got to about 20, I said, you know what, I'm doing it. And I got a pair of original Penn 525s, and I just concentrated going casting and just basically feeding the line on and getting used to the reel. It took me around, I don't know, a couple of months really, and it was one of the best things I ever done. Now I know a lot of people are going back to fixed spools and stuff now, and at the end of the day, some of the times it's just for easy fishing and stuff. But after a lot of years of experience of this, I don't tend to get bird's nests, and the reason I don't is out of just knowing what to do and when. I like to have very fast running reels, which I don't recommend for anybody first starting out. Just so basically when the lead lifts, I can see when it's going out whether it's going to bird's nest or not. If I've played around with my mags, I'm in control, because I put mags on these reels to fine tune them. So if I see the line lifting, I'll slow the reel down slightly. You know what I mean? And that only comes out of experience of knowing how to use the multiplier reel. Now, I would stay away from these, anybody first starting out. Anybody what's on the fixed spools already, looking to try them, there is pros and cons. I feel more confident when I'm landing fish and that, and more control in the position with a reel down. So I've got my hands and leverage there with the fish, rather than it's like butt up. A lot of people used to use the fixed spools up. It's come more in this phase now where they're going back down to reel down. So you've got that still capability there. But for me personally, multiplier all the time. As you said, when you're first starting off, don't go buying them. Get yourself fishing, get yourself enjoying it, see whether you're going to like it or not, and then it's a progress next step on. And it's one of them, guys. Some people like them, some people don't. Some people will personally prefer the fixed spool than the multiplier. Some people say they'll cast further with a fixed spool than a multiplier. Then some people say a multiplier casts further than that. My argument would be, if you go on the tournament casting field, they're all using multipliers, and it speaks for itself. I feel that the multiplier, you always get better distance with the multiplier, and yeah, as I said, it is a fantastic bit of kit. This is a more expensive multiplier I've got here now. This is a Daiwa Shimano pen Achios. We can have a look at one of them now. That there will set you back a few £100. But at the end of the day, it's the Sotis 20. Then you've got over here now, where is that? Is that the one there? Yeah, so this one here, what is that? That's the Nitron F15. So this reel here is very super smooth. Now, we done a video many years ago, and I feel a bit bad really, because I was sent a reel from Jerry's and Morecambe and asked to do a tackle test versus the casting special and the original Nitron. But what I didn't know when I got sent it, that it was a prototype reel I got sent of the original Achios without knowing. So we done the production and we done everything through, and what we found is the line was catching inside. Now, without us knowing, the guys at Achios in early stages already had picked this up, okay? And we went live with the production because we didn't know no different, and then afterwards we got told, and unfortunately it was too late for the production. But as I can see, and I know, the original productions, when they come out, they've never had the problem with the line going down through. Now, this reel here will not, you will not get it. It's a lovely, lovely reel, very smooth. I actually had a cast with one a few weeks back with a guy on the beach, and I was very, very impressed. Super smooth, loads of backbone, I'm not sure what they retail at. So you're paying about 240 quid, 250 quid, but in my eyes, very, very nice reel. And yeah, it's always controversial because I quite like the blue, but some people would rather have the red. At the end of the day, and I think a lot of companies tend to do now is stick to one color because it blends in with everybody. But personally, I really like the blue. Very smooth reel. The good thing about this reel, it's got the mono mag, okay, which is a lot better than a lot of the clicky reels. I know Penn, they've done a casting special, and they've also done the Fathom 2s, but they've still got the clickiness on it, and it's like a slidey click. I don't like it. Mono mags all the way. If you're going for a multiplier, you've got the mono mag. If you're first starting out, keep all the mono mags tight and right up, and just let the lead go out, and then work with the mono mags. If you feel yourself getting a bit better and you think, you know what, that lead's being held back, you can reduce them. Absolutely fantastic reel, guys. And as I said, for those of you that are looking to progress from the fixable one, this is one reel I'd recommend with the mono mag on. And yeah, as you go, that is the multiplier. So we're going to move on now onto lines and shock leaders, and then what we do is we'll head back into the back there and have a look at the tackle. So here we have the lines, leaders, braids, everything you need to know, trace lines, everything you need for lines. Now, for those of you, when you're first starting out, some people, depending if you're boat fishing, a lot of people use braid. Now, I actually cast with braid yesterday, and I'm very impressed with it. I would not recommend starting out with braid. I would recommend getting yourself one of these. So when you first start going fishing, that's going to be your best friend. Nice size spool. If you do depending whether you're a multiplier or not, if you're going straight onto multiplier, you will need one of these, a bit bigger, because you get birds nests and stuff. You can reline and stuff like that. Value for money. Rovex, very good line, and yeah, a lot of different people use it. At the end of the day, what you'll find with lines is you use a lot of different lines, and you'll find what works for you. Now, the Rovex 10 times is I can see a lot of anglers use it. You've got the Ultima F1, which is an old classic. A lot of guys like the Ultima F1. You've got the Ultima Red Ice. These are priced differently. So that one there's £9. The Ultima F1's £13. That's a more higher spec level. They do them in different colours and stuff. You've got the Black Ice, which is going down through, and then this is one of my old-time favorites, Ultima Distance. I moved on from the Ultima Distance because I like it, but after using it a few times, personally, I feel there was better lines available on the market. He hasn't got the Asso line here, but Asso line is an absolutely cracking line as well. They do some fantastic lines, Asso. Exactly the same with Sakuma. So they got the Night Crystal, very good line. I tend to use this a lot as well. I use this in £20, and it's a very, very strong line. And then you've got the Novex Silk, which I've never tried, to be honest, but that's a £12 line there. you can get different lines. If you're fishing clean ground, my recommendation when you first start fishing, I wouldn't go for very light lines. I'd go for like a 20-pound line or even a 25-pound line and stuff to get you going. And then if you once you get going and stuff like that, you can, and your angling skills advance, you can start playing around with it a little bit, and maybe it's going down lighter on your line and trying to get a bit more distance and stuff like that when you're first starting out, as I said. So that's the line. Now, exactly the same with these is what I tend to buy, the big spools like that. Very, very strong, and you've got loads and loads of line there for all your reels and that all the time. Next step, very, very important, shock leaders. Ultima, whatever ones you're going to use, Sakuma, different ones like that, the Power Flex there as well. For a shock leader, the benefits of a shock leader, you're going to save someone's life, okay? If you cast a lead and you were to snap off with just no shock leader on your line, and it come off and hit you, you could kill someone. A lead traveling like that could cause severe damage. No one wants to see that. We're out having a good time on the beaches, on the rocks, wherever. You don't want to see no one get hurt. Do not cast without a shock leader, okay? We'll go through some knots and stuff a bit later on to get you going, but do not cast without a shock leader. Honestly, guys, I've seen it happen. I've done one the other day and the lead come around to the side, okay? But obviously I had a shock leader. If I see someone fishing next to me without a shock leader, I'll tell them, and I'll even tie it for them. I've done it before in the past because the safety aspect of it. Do not do it. There's a lot of different brands around for shock leaders. The way the shock leader works, and I'll go through this a bit more in depth later on, is for every 10 pound in strength is 1 ounce of weight, okay? So if you're casting a 7-ounce lead, you want a minimum of 70 pound shock leader. 80 pound shock leader I would recommend most of the time, a 20 pound line. If you're using slightly smaller, you can get away with 60 and stuff. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. You've got the braid here now, so this is what I'll be using for my multipliers. I'm gonna have a go and put some braid on multiplier. I cast it yesterday and I was very, very impressed with this Berkeley Sick, okay? So it's stocked in slamfish as well, guys. Anybody wanted to try it, highly recommend, because that stuff flies. And well, let me just say that's 83 pound and it's a 38.1 millimeter diameter, which is less than a 20 pound line, and you've got 83 pound in strength. I was using one yesterday which was 52 pound, okay, and that's 23.6 diameter. That's absolutely unreal, and you could see it when it cast. It come off absolutely superb. So that's that. There's some other trace lines and different things and stuff like that, what he's got here, as we'll go through a bit later on with the tying of the traces. But you will need trace lines to get you going. You will need rig bodies and stuff like that to get you going, tying your rigs and stuff. And the main thing, guys, is just enjoy it. Obviously, if you're coming in and you see, like, you haven't got to spend loads of money. Fish to what you can afford. So if you've got 20 quid, go into the tackle shop and say, look, I got 20 quid, I want to get some rig bits and pieces, anything you can do. Most tackle shops will look after you and say, yeah, I can recommend you getting that, because you could get all that for 20 quid, and that's what you need. You might have to get a lesser price line and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, guys, it's all knowledge. And if you were fishing with that line and you're like, I don't really like that, next time you go in, you can say, I don't want to get that one. Do you know what? I'm going to get that one. Or I don't like that one. I'm going to get that one. You know what I mean? It's about knowledge and personal, what you get out of your equipment and tackle. So we're going to move on now onto some tackle components and then some rigs. Okay, guys. So this can be puzzling, and I've only found this out recently, but I took a young lad, which is local to me, out. I've seen him going fishing a lot, and he was struggling, and I was looking at some of the rigs and casting and stuff like that, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do something nice. I'm gonna take him under the wing and just, like, at the end of the day, I wish someone was there to do that with me. And what I found is, like, when he was talking about rigs now, he just didn't know because no one had shown him. And it made me think, and I remember me starting out and how hard it was to realise what simple things do and stuff. Now, you've got a lot of different things here, okay? First things you'll need is swivels, which you've got here, okay, for tying your rigs. Absolutely perfect, very strong, very, very recommended. What I'll say with equipment and tackle when it comes to this sort of stuff, you get what you pay for. Top end Gemini, and also top end breakaway. I think leading manufacturers in all tackle and components really, and it's to both companies is something that I purchase for different types of things. Now, one of the first things I'll recommend doing, and there's different ones here, so I'll show you both types, is release clips. This will help you clip your leads down, your baits down to the lead, will help you keep the lead aerodynamic, and it'll stop things from tangling and stuff like that. So when your baits are clipped down and lying on the seabed, you've got better chance of catching fish. If you cast out and it gets tangled up and that and it's sat down there, you know what I mean, your bait's not flowing around and it's all tangled around your rig and that, it's just not what you want to catch fish. These things will help. Now, a lot of people like the splashdown clip. I know a lot of good friends and good anglers what use a splashdown clip. Personally, I'm a big fan of the imp, okay? And as I said, guys, both these work. This is my own personal preference. I love the imps. So the imps is something I've used for years. I do use some of these on different things, but 9 times out of 10, a lot of my fishing, as everybody know, I'll be using the imp. £3.20, £3.25, it's near enough the same prices. These ones here, personally, may be better for you starting off, because basically you can clip the bait in and they just, if you put the bait on the floor to do like an off the ground or something, that there would help it straight away and it wouldn't come undone until it hit the water, where that one there doesn't get locked in, it just gets flipped up. But I love them, the imps. They're one of my favourite things. I buy for Christmas in my stocking. My missus gets me about 20 packs of them, so I don't get no chocolate, just loads of imps. But yeah, as I said, both of them work really well. Other things now which I could recommend. So other things to recommend for getting your rigs and stuff, the pulley swivel from Gemini, help you basically put that onto your rig, and so you can tie your pulley rigs and that nothing gets like tangled up and nothing gets damaged on the line. They're very, very nice and very, very good. That's a pulley swivel from Gemini. You've got tubing, silicone tubing and stuff like that. You've got pop-up beads, which are there for Gemini. You've got sequins for basically put on top, whether you're using worm baits and stuff like that. There's a lot of different things here. What else have we got here? We've got the bait shields, other ones for using down, for clipping down your baits. My bit of advice straight away when you're making rigs, without going into a lot of detail with this today, is just make sure you're getting a bait clip. Bait clip are very important. There's a lot of different things on the internet for you to the demonstrations for different individuals on YouTube and stuff, on rigs and stuff like that. The main thing is knowing what does what. But if you don't know, ask. They'll always help you. All the tackle shops that I know are really, really good at helping. You know what I mean, that's what they're there for. That's their job. One of the things, if you're fishing rougher ground, okay, the breakaway breakers, the Gemini breakers, absolutely spot on. They are my favourite. If I'm fishing rough ground, I know that I can hit a lead, I'm not clipping the lead on, that's going out safely, and when it hits the water, it releases out, allows me to get my gear back and just lose my lead. But as I said, a lot of people when they're first starting out don't know about these things, and they are very, very good. Okay, so next thing, what you probably need, bait elastic. Is a must. I see a lot of people when they're first starting out just putting the hook down through the bait like that and then casting out. By the time they cast it out, the bait could be falling off. Bait elastic will help you keep the bait secure to your hooks. So that's that. And then you've got leads. So leads, you've got some different sizes. So you've got a 5 ounce, which is 150. You've got the 175s, which are the 6 ounce, and then you've also got the 200 gram leads, a 7, 8 ounce. They do them down to 3 ounce, all different sizes. These are the grip leads. So basically, the benefits of using these grip leads also, basically, when you cast them out, you lift them up like that, right? And as they hit into seabed, they come along like that. And then basically, when you pull your lead back, they'll unclip and allow you to lift off, but they'll keep you positioned in the tide. Depending where you are, if you've got a lot of tide, you'll need grip leads. But if you're fishing like beaches and stuff like that, sometimes you'll get away with bomb leads, okay? But one thing I would recommend, look at what rod you're using, and it will give you give you the optimum casting weight in leads. I wouldn't go casting them with heavier leads. The optimum casting weight is there for a reason. So if it states 175, don't go casting a 7 ounce lead on it. Cast it up to anything up to a 6 ounce. But yeah, guys, that's basically that. So I'm going to go through the most important thing now out of all of it: hooks. Okay guys, so what a fantastic display of Sakuma hooks. One of the leading brand in hooks, Sakuma, and the quality you always get. You can pay a lot more money for hooks and you can pay lesser money for hooks, and as you see up above, Nobby's got a lot of different unpacked hooks what are a lot cheaper. Okay, but what I would say is you always get what you pay for, and that goes for everything in fishing. Now I've used a lot of different hooks over my time, and Sakuma's always one that I come back to and I buy. You know what I mean? I would always buy, I'll pay a bit more money than a hook rather than go for a cheaper hook. At the end of the day, when you're first coming out and starting, money can be, at the end of the day, it can be quite costly. So everybody's fishing on a budget, so you fish to your means at the end of the day. But one thing I would say, this is one of the most important things out of all your fishing gear, because there's no point having all this nice gear and then having a hook what bends out when you're putting a fish in. You imagine getting that fish of a lifetime hooked up and the hook would straighten out. Now even the quality hooks, depending what type of hooks, need to be, can bend out. At the end of the day, you're fishing the sea and you're fishing over reefs, you're fishing over things and stuff like that, into heavy fish, and the power of fish, especially big fish, can do it. Now a J hook, in theory, is a very strong hook, and I use it for a lot of different things. If I'm targeting bigger fish, I'd rather go for like a Chinu hook because of the strength in the hook. But at the same time, I feel like, looking back on my fishing now, when I used to use a lot of J hooks, I feel that I used to catch more rays. And the reason I don't now, and it's not necessary for any of these individual brands, this is just the type of hook, the J hook. The Chinu is a lot stronger hook, so I know I can bully fish. If I've got fish in like big swells and big seas and stuff like that, and it's up on top of the surface, I know the Chinu will not, just because of the style of hook it is, you're not bending it out. Where a J hook, obviously, it's not as strong as a Chinu hook. But at the end of the day, one of these things you'll find, and my preference would be speak to the tackle shop owner, okay? Most tackle shop owners will have a general background in fishing. Now, if you're fishing for worm baits and stuff like that, you might go for like a stinger hook, or like a black lug and stuff like that for the Manta J hook sort of size and stuff. You're fishing crab baits and stuff for smooth hounds, you might go for a Chinu or a circle hook. The circle hooks are coming big time in the last few years, for the reason being they basically lip hook, you know what I mean, on the top, and a lot of people are going for the circle hook. As you can see here now, owner, I was starting to use these the other day, and I'm very impressed by them. But they're a lot of money, and like there's £4 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hooks, where these are £4 and you're getting like 10 or 15 hooks. So at the end of the day, they're very expensive, and you get what you pay for, I feel. And to be honest, for me personally, Sakuma, owner, you've also got the Inova rods now. These are the tamers, and they're £4 a packet as well. J hook, I mean, I've never actually seen these. I'm going to get one out at the moment. I'll be able to tell straight away. One thing I can tell with a hook, so you get the hook like that, very strong. You can tell that straight away, okay? You push back on like that and go in. Lovely hook. And as I said, that's me picking it up for the first time. And if I go, what I'll just do a demonstration on, I'm not sure what those top ones are. Okay, so I'm going to basically get one of the 4 rows down of one of these. So this is a cheaper hook, okay? And what we'll do, we'll have a look here now to see what the quality would be like of a cheaper hook and a more expensive hook. See, they're not bad still, but there's a lot more bend. A lot more bend in that than there is that. So it does go to show, guys, at the end of the day, with the hooks, you get what you pay for. But it's a fantastic selection here. I mean, a lot of shops you would never get as much selection as you got here for hooks wise. I mean, he's got a massive selection of Sakuma, massive selection of like the cheaper budget range. He's got massive selection of the Inova range, and yeah, ideal. But once that hooks, the next thing you'll need is a rig wallet, okay? A rig wallet or a rig winder, okay? Be prepared, guys, okay? Don't go to the beach and have nothing set up. Make sure you've got all your gear sorted. So if you do lose a rig, you just go and get a rig out your rig box, the tackle box, and what are all made up in here. You can sit at home, watch demonstrations of them, pick them up, make 10 or 15 rigs up. When you go to the beach, you save time, you're fishing. If you're out of the water and you've got baits in the water while you're fishing, especially over that prime time, less chance of catching fish. Make sure you're always prepared, because it will get you catching fish. Okay guys, so you've got everything you need. You're ready to go fishing. But before you got any of that, there's one thing I would recommend doing. A couple things really. It's a no-brainer. Good quality set of boots. These will help you stay on your feet. If you're rock fishing, it's a must. If you're on the beaches and stuff like that, you can get away with it. But anywhere you're going where you need to have grip, when you're hiking, on wet rocks and stuff, good quality footwear. It just helps you to keep fishing safe. Personally, that should be your #1 priority. Safe fishing, safety at all times. Okay, a lot of different brands do them. Vast do some lovely footwear boots. They do some outdoor pursuit boots and stuff like that, general hiking boots. What I'll say, you get what you pay for with fishing, and exactly the same when it comes to footwear and stuff. And yeah, just make sure you're getting like a vibrant sole, I would recommend, and a good quality set of boots with plenty of grip on. If you could get studded can be beneficial on some marks, but can also be lethal on others. So it's something where you gain knowledge over and stuff, but definitely a nice pair of boots to start off with. Now the next one is to me isn't used enough, and I personally make this mistake, and I have done over the past and stuff, and some of the stuff I've done fishing over the years and stuff like that, I look back on, I think just crazy. Me and Joseph went to a mark not long ago, and we went down with a rope, and I used to go down there with no rope and stuff, and I was thinking, why would you do that? Looking back on it now, just young and foolish, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? A bit more slimmer and a bit more steadier and that on my feet. Used to get away with it, lucky enough, and nothing happened like that, but it could have easily. But this is one thing I don't think we people and anglers use enough: a life jacket. Okay, many anglers from around the UK and around the world die in this sport we love every single year, and for the sake of what this cost and what you've just spent with your tackle, this could save your life. Okay, if you're taking your kids and stuff, but the simple of getting one of these and putting them over the shoulders, because if they do end up in the water, they're gonna be all right. And exactly the same for anglers. If you're fishing, especially at nights on rocks, if you got into the sea and you weren't able to get back out, that could save your life. You know what I mean? And it could help you to stay above water while your mate or whoever you're with is on the phone to the emergency to say, look, you've just been swept into the water. It could save your life, guys, and it's not used enough. And for the money, what they are, so that one there now, they're not cheap. That's 120 quid. But at the same time, it's probably going to be one of the most important 120 quid you have ever spent in your life. Last thing, we'll end on a bit more of a pleasurable note. Seat box. Okay, if you're beach fishing, that's ideal. You can sit on nice and comfort, waiting around for your rod, for your bites and your fish to start coming in, and it just helps you to stay comfortable. You can get a breakaway adapter which goes on the back, what turns it into like a rucksack, so you can put it on your shoulder. A lot of anglers use that everywhere they go. I took it in loads of places where I go, even up and down rock marks and stuff like that with seat boxes before, instead of using rucksacks. It just enables, if it starts raining, everything's secure and watertight in there, and it's something what a lot of guys use. There's other stuff you can buy. I think these iNova ones here for if you're fishing with what clip onto your tripod, if you're holding your baits and stuff like that. There's loads of general accessories, rod holders. One bit of advice I would give you is at night, if you're fishing at night, a good quality headlight. Now when it comes to headlights, you can pick them up for like 20 quid, and you can pick them up, so that there is 65 quid. That's an Aquios power light, okay? But you can spend 300 or 400, 500 quid on a headlight. What I feel with a headlight, and I've found, is you can get £100 headlights, what will give you 10 meters out away in the water. But the headlight I got, I spent a lot of money on, but the difference with that is when I turn it onto full beam, I can see 40 meters out into the water. Now, if one of your friends was to fall in the water and I can only see 10 and it got swept out to sea at night, even with a life jacket on, I couldn't see far enough to see him to be able to rescue him, or be able to know, you know what I mean? That at the same time, if I got full settings like a flood, I can see where I was. I can give him warnings of where, you know what I mean? I can communicate with him. If I can't see him, I don't know where he is, and it is something I feel, guys, especially I will go out and spend that little bit more money, and sometimes they're a little bit more heavier, but the way headlights have come on over the years and stuff like that, they're very light and they're very easy to use and stuff. Some of them have been USB charged, and basically that was all you need to do. Other ones you can get different batteries to connect and stuff like that. Mine, I've got a Petzl one, which I've used, an Ultra Rush, what I've used for many years now, and I love it. But so yeah, apart from that, you've got different accessories with like clothing, obviously waterproof gear. You've got reeds, you've got Vast, you've got Titan and stuff like that. You've got some really good waterproof gears out there. If not, you've got outdoor pursuit gears. You want to make sure if you're fishing, you can stay nice and dry. Baiting towels and stuff like that. And it's pretty much ready to go. So that is the basic setup to get you fishing. I hope you've enjoyed it, guys, and at the end of the day, it's something a lot of people when they're first starting out struggle with, and I hope this has been educational for you, and I hope it helps you get amongst the fish.